Hey everybody, what is up? It's Berlin. Welcome back to my channel. Yes, I have no makeup or anything on. Literally, this topic that we've got to talk about today is hard and problematic to talk about. Honestly, it's not really something that I want to talk about, but it's something that we're going to talk about because it's something that came out sort of late last night, early this morning about James Charles. Once again, James Charles is in drama for apparently, allegedly chasing after a straight boy. Only, again, it's the same old thing, the same old story that we hear every time James Charles has apparently gone after a straight boy. It's, he told me he was bisexual. He told me he wanted to experiment. So let's get into this TikTok that this boy has uploaded claiming that James Charles flirted with him, came after him, and then we'll come back and have a bit of a chat.
So as you can see, James Charles commented on one of my videos back in August. Then right after, he adds me on Snap, but notice he didn't follow my Instagram or TikTok. So at this point, I'm just shocked. I'm going insane. Like, I see this guy everywhere, and for him to add me, that's just crazy. So we texted for a couple days, but it was more of like, hey, what you doing? How you doing? We ended up getting the yellow heart within just 3 days. Then, you know, after those 3 days of getting to know each other and everything, the big question came out. James asked me if I'm gay. I told him I'm straight, and things start to get weird from there. He then starts leaving me on open. Literally the same day I told him I was straight, he left me on open for 10 hours. But I don't blame him because he did say he was looking for a relationship on a podcast at the time.
Looking for love on a long-term, like longevity.
But I would get these out of the blue snaps from him asking how am I doing or what are you doing, like out of nowhere. And it went on for like a while, for like a week. And then he just asked me openly, would you be willing to experiment? I said no. He asked why. And I said because I don't feel comfortable doing something like that. Then he started questioning my decision, asking why, and he tried making me feel like it was okay. He sent me this.
What are you worried for, though? It's not like anybody's actually there, like about to suck your dick or something.
Okay, now this is the part that I think is very awkward to talk about. This is the part that's not easy, honestly, you know. James has been talking to this guy. As you saw, this guy has said that he's straight. James has apparently kind of pressured him into experimenting and saying things like, oh, it's okay. You know, it's not as if anyone's actually going to be there to BJ you or anything. This is one thing that I really don't agree with. That guy there had that clip of James on video saying those words. And this is one thing that I really don't agree with. James, with his millions of followers, pressuring somebody to do kind of sexual things with him or to have a kind of sexual conversation with him when they have told James they don't want that. James has told that person they're looking for more than a friend, but James is also pressuring this guy. It looks like he's also pressuring this guy to go a bit further, and the guy doesn't want to.
So after he sent me that, I thought to myself, why me? Like, why does he like me out of everyone in the world? Like, why is he so open to me? Like, how does he know I'm not going to take a video of him without him noticing? So I was scrolling through TikTok one day on the For You page, and I seen him comment on another guy's TikTok. So I went and DM'd the guy. Now, me being the curious person I am, I asked him, is James Charles hitting on you too? He responds with yes. And then I asked him, are you gay, straight, or bi? He said he was straight like me. Now what was crazy is the same day someone hit me up and asked me, is James Charles hitting on me? Here's the screenshot. I take that back. He asked me, did James Charles hit you up too? Notice it's August 26th. This is all around August. Now I asked the guy and he was straight. Now we all ended up with the same stories. Like, he tries to make you feel like it's okay to try experimenting, which is wrong. Now James one day ends up doing something really dumb. He sends me a nude out of nowhere, out of context, out of the blue.
James responded to this TikTok saying, you are so weird for this, an exposed video because you're mad I unadded you after months of not talking to you after you told me you were straight. Okay, when a follower asked James about this interaction on Twitter, James responded saying that he'd confronted the guy a few nights ago and he sent me these and promised to delete them, and then 10 minutes later unsent it all. Luckily, I screenshotted it all before he could. then went on to show DMs between him and this guy on TikTok, this straight guy. So let's get into those. So the DM exchange between James Charles and this straight guy start off with James Charles telling this guy that the TikTok is pathetic. James then goes on to say it's really embarrassing how desperate you are for clout. I added you and you told me you were bi but didn't know how to come out. We talked for a few days and then you said you were actually straight, so I left you alone. And then after months of not talking or Snapchatting, I unadded you a few days ago and then you got upset and tried to expose me for leaving you open. Grow up, dude. I didn't say anything rude to you. I didn't expose you. I didn't out you. I literally removed you as a friend after we hadn't spoken for 11 weeks. If you want to keep sharing your story on TikTok, I promise I have absolutely no problem shedding some light on what actually went down. So I recommend you cut the bullshit and let me move on from the non-existent relationship we had. The straight guy then goes on to say, I didn't even read everything you put there because I'm in the wrong. I apologise. James Charles responded to that by saying, I'm not looking for friends. I told you that when we first started talking. When you told me you were straight, I left you alone. It is absolutely ridiculous to try and expose me for doing nothing just because you are angry I unadded you. The person then responded saying, James, you don't need to explain yourself. James came back with, we talked for a week in August. That was 6 months ago, with a heart emoji. Then the straight guy goes on to continue saying that he hoped everything would go well for James Charles and that James Charles didn't do anything wrong. James Charles then responded, it's not, because guys constantly do things like this where they only want me for my clout and they don't actually like me as a person. James also clarified this again over on Twitter when somebody asked him about why he goes after straight guys. James had this to say, nah, the guy said he was bi and wanted to experiment but was scared because of his religion. So I told him that he shouldn't be. I never sent him a nude and then stopped talking to him when he told me he was straight a week later. He's upset because I unadded him a few days ago, LOL. Honestly, for me, this is quite an uncomfortable topic. I don't know if the guy from TikTok that you saw there is making all of this up. You know, I wasn't there. I can't say if he's making all this up, but he does have that clip of himself speaking to James Charles. So the fact that he's got that clip of him speaking to James Charles, I'm like, how have you got that if that isn't from somebody hitting James Charles up? You know what I mean? Like, that receipt that the boy from TikTok showed, that concerns me, because how have you got it if you haven't spoken to somebody else that James was hitting up or recorded that when James was hitting him up himself? Like, that's concerning. That is very concerning. And also, we don't know the ages of these people that James has apparently spoken to. I'm not saying any of this is fact, by the way, but for this to come out now, when Jeffree Star is in a lot of drama, I do find that a bit of a coincidence as well. But also, it's not the first time that we've heard this about James Charles. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 of the same incidents. 3 or 4 times the same story has come out about James Charles apparently flirting with a straight boy. Let's not forget, that was what caused all the whole Dramageddon 2 thing when Tati Westbrook made her Bi Sister video. That was what Tati Westbrook was claiming, that James Charles had used his status to try and hit on boys. You know, I'm not going to say that Tati was lying. I'm not going to say that James Charles is lying. But that's what's been said about James Charles. That he used his fame, his status, to hit on people. His power, his large following, whatever, you know, all that he's got behind him to hit on people. Which is gross. And that little clip that the guy in the TikTok showed there, where he said, oh, it's okay, it's not as if anyone's going to be there giving you a BJ or anything. I find that really, really creepy. Really creepy. That's just uncomfortable, honestly. But the one thing I will say for James Charles is he has come out on his social media, he's come out on TikTok, he's come out on Twitter, and he's addressed the situation like he did when the whole Bi-Sister scandal happened. He got online, made his No More Lies video, he addressed the whole situation, he pulled up screenshots and everything. Same with this, you know, he has come out with screenshots, he's addressed the situation, he's done the same thing that he did in the Bi-Sister scandal. So James is trying his best to clear his name here. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say who's in the right or who's in the wrong. I can only present you with what we've got from Twitter, from TikTok, all of that. So I'm going to stop this little video right here. I'm going to say, please don't send hate to anyone that I talk about in these videos. But take care, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.